Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. My name is Maurice Jenkens. I'm based in Sweden and I'm running the Intuitive Leader. It's a program slash community to support people in their inner growth. So there's an inner growth journey ongoing whilst we are building our company and having external growth. So to assist to facilitate the journey from starting the company, solo entrepreneur, CEO, maybe then backing down to owner and then maybe partly exit. That whole journey is a one big marathon where we are breaking through all sorts of ceilings, mentally, emotionally, and business wise. And those tend to go hand in hand. In particular, in the beginning, when we are so crucial to our own companies, our own personal growth is sort of pivotal to how we can maximize our company growth. So the intuitive leader touches elements as in self-trust, self-awareness, but also the anchoring decisions, like how do I know this is going to be the right decision? How do I know this is going to be the right person for my company? Or how do I know this is the right direction for my company? And working with the inner journey strengthens not only um, the ability to take decisions, which is sort of the home turf for intuition and gut feeling normally, but also different aspects. The more secure and safe we feel in ourselves, the more easy we have it to create an environment of psychological safety and trust. And that just radiates throughout the team and throughout the company. And those two elements are absolutely crucial to support high performance. So this is very short, what we do at the Intuitive Leader. And today I thought to talk a little bit more about what inner knowing is, your inner knowing, how it affects us, and the research behind it. And I'll also tell you a story about rotten tomatoes that I've been able to receive at some point. Rotten tomatoes are rotten eggs. Do you feel you're in the right room today, or are you misplaced? If you have any questions, just raise your hand, just say something, or put it in the chat. And in the meantime, when I'm talking about Rotten Tomatoes, if I have a question for you, what do you think that intuition is, or what is your definition of intuition? Just put it on the chat if you want to, and I will take that later on. So for a couple of years ago, by the way, I'm 50 today. I forgot to tell you that I'm 50 today. I'm married. We have one son, one dog, and we're living east of Stockholm. And my life has been, my career has been within sales and leadership for many years, tech and energy. That has been my home turf mostly. But for many years ago, when I started my company in 2018, I was asked to hold a keynote, which I do, by the way. I'm a nominated speaker in Sweden for 2 years in a row now on this topic, psychological safety and high performance. And for a couple of years ago, when I wasn't nominated at all, just started out, and I was asked to hold a speech during an investment conference of one particular scale up. And roughly 25 people there, so it's quite intimate. I was the last person to say something, and after me it would be mingle. So the presentation went well. The topic was simple: communication, emotional intelligence. At the end, I thought, well, it's soon mingle. So let's throw in a question to get the party going a little bit, to have a discussion. And I asked them, investors, like, do you use your intuition when you make an investment? It was a serious question, but I brought it with a sort of a twinkle in the eye, and it went well for most people, except for one. There was one person that started to throw rotten tomatoes at me virtually then, and took offense by the question itself, and it sort of ruined the moment. It was supposed to be a light discussion on it. Then and there, I noticed I did not have the arguments. I had a lot of arguments in me, but I didn't neither have the self-trust nor the ready arguments to actually explain to him. how it can be used and why and who is using it and the research behind it. So that put me on a path of actually doing the research and understanding what intuition is in most cases. So I started to read books, everything between the wildly spiritual to the deep scientific and everything in between. And I started to deep interview founders, investors, and CEOs on how they actually do intuitive leadership. And this is how I came into high performance. The whole idea of high performance connected to intuition is not something that I had in my mind from the beginning. But during roughly 50 deep interviews, I realized that there's one common theme between all these people that have succeeded with their companies, and that is they have dared to go with their gut. I'm not saying they were flawless, but they did follow the gut. And at some point, I started my podcast called Intuitive Leader, and here I want to share two slides. I'm not going to create death by PowerPoint. There we are. This is my podcast called Intuitive Leader. If you see this young man, it's me. And the next slide is this one. This is the one I wanted to show you. So here on the left-hand side, you see a person called Mac Van Wielingen. He's sort of the Canadian Chris Hone. If you know who Sir Chris Hone is, he's living in the UK. He is known to use his intuition when making investments. Data, of course, but also his gut feeling. And the same is true for this person here, Mac Van Wielingen. I call him the Canadian Warren Buffett or the Canadian Chris Hone. And he's on my show, and he explained to everybody that if he feels uncomfortable, if he doesn't feel comfortable with investing in a company or hiring a person, he will simply ask, why am I uncomfortable? He will ask that question right in his management team with senior people. And then two things happen. The first, he is the most senior one. He's the owner of his own investment banking company. He could decide whenever he wants to. But he opens up the room. He allows others to actually weigh in. And with that, he creates immediate psychological safety. He is admitting, I am uncomfortable with this, but I don't know why. Please help me. That's literally how he said it. And it invites others to speak, and it invites others to speak their mind, and maybe even to not just speak their mind, but speak their gut. Like, intuitive language is often not very clear. It points to something, we have to dig deeper, but it is pointing to something that's not completely right. It's just one example of how to use intuition in terms of decision making and creating psychological safety. I will stop sharing again. So the research that I did led eventually to a beta version. I wanted to try it out on people. That has led to a program, and that has led to an evidence-based method. That is called decoding intuition. That is actually the core of the program/community. And people that come there, and I'm telling you that because it's user case based, people that come here are either looking for a big change, either a change in their company, direction, exit maybe, or hiring a crucial person, or how to get rid of a crucial person. Big events, not small events, but big events where there's a need for guidance, a need for inner guidance. Yesterday evening, I was at a gala for the Founders Alliance, the Swedish chapter, and most of the people I met there, almost all of them, and all of, just like you, startups and scale-ups, witnessed about the support they've gotten through their journey, partly investment and partly emotional, and they valued the emotional support almost as much as the financial support. And this is a little bit where we end up. If we are running the race of a startup, at some point you get stuck. There can be emotional blockers, mental blockers, moments where you need sort of to reflect or to contemplate, where data brings you only so far. You have to make a decision, or you have to dig in yourself to understand, am I still authentic here? Am I still running the business as I wanted it in the first place, or am I losing myself somewhere on the way? So usually we work with deepening out, straightening out unclarity and stuckness. That's basically what it is. And then surrounded by all sorts of decisions that have to be made. Um, so I don't know how long I've been talking. Oh, still on track. Good. Do you have questions before I just ramble on here? Gut feel? Okay. Definitions, gut feeling. Innately picking up on things. Yes, thank you, Chris. Wisdom. That's a good one. What's the difference between wisdom and intuition? Intuition, happy birthday. Would say intuition is the driving from emotional desire to decide on the basis of what we know, what we now know. Gut instinct based on life experience. Yes. So there is something called reading the room. And um, fate, maybe, yes. There's something called reading the room. And the number of times I've been working, either when I was still employed myself or when I was hired to work with clients, that senior leadership, and I hope I'm not insulting anybody now, senior leadership could not read the room. And the toxic atmosphere that is pumped out of the lack of ability to read the room. And reading the room is not just like, the cheap tricks, trying to mirror how someone is behaving, sitting, talking, dressing. It is really about being aware of what's happening. And the two people that are reading the room in a wrong way, that is one, to feel safe, use your social intuition to actually feel safe, to adapt. And the other is to manipulate. That's not what I believe is the right way of reading the room. For me, if you want to create high performance, the best way of the best application of reading the room is to create safety for someone else, to pick up signals and to read the situation, read the room, and understand that if you're feeling something in here, like something is off, doesn't have to be only the classical moment of recruitment, but if you feel something is off, I don't know what, but something is off with my team member or with my boss or with my investor or with the chairman of the board, it doesn't feel as it usually feels. My best advice is to pause. It's sort of the light goes from green to orange. It's not yet red, but it's orange or yellow, whatever it is, and pause and contemplate. And that is the essence, the inner, the use of you using intuitive intelligence. It's a signal. It's like, okay, I stop, pause, investigate. So it's not equaling like impulsive behavior. That is how we use it. And my definition of intuition is inner knowing, or a sense of inner knowing. It's sort of the combination of the two definitions that are swirling around in literature and research. One is from a professor in Germany, Gerd Kekerenzer. He has defined intuition as felt knowledge. And there's also a very old definition. That's a very long one, and I can't repeat it, but I can give you the short version. It's knowing for certain without knowing for sure. But the research behind it, and there's a lot of it, and I haven't given you any deep research now. I know that, but the research behind it is it's in short, body intelligence sending signals to our cognitive awareness that we either read, like an email, we either open it and read it and interpret it, or we don't. And the difference can be creating trust, creating psychological safety, and creating high performance. Am I running over time?
No, no, no. You got plenty of
Okay.
time,
All
Maurice.
right.
Julian, I think Julian might have a question for you, and
Go
then
ahead.
I might have a
Yes.
question as well.
Yeah.
Well, Maurice, you were really just sort of getting to what I was going to ask you about, which was the intuition that you're speaking of in a sort of a meeting or a managing of people aspect of running a company. It is this sort of being aware of the body language, the sort of biological information that we probably normally filter out because it's not intellectual, it's not speech, but it's things that we exactly sort of feel and normally train ourselves just from the early days of life, I suppose, to filter out in society. But what you're saying is that listening to these somehow gives us important sort of steer on how to
Yes.
take a situation for what it is, for the truth, to sort of see the truth of it.
Yes, thank you, Julian. Yes, that is correct. I'm sure you've heard of the 10, 20, 70, where 70% of communication is body language. And usually what you are saying, that's what we mean. Like we look at someone's body language, and that is definitely there are clues there for sure. However, we have to be careful not to misread instinct, which is like fight, flight, freeze, like fear or very angry. That is instinctive behavior, but we should read it absolutely. But what people often forget, or but actually probably don't realize, at least I didn't, is that it's not just 70% body language that we are intaking with our eyes. It's actually 70% body language that our bodies are registering. This is the so-called tacit knowledge. This is the mirror neurons, or it's body to body language. It's in silence. It's happening under the table, if you like. And the only way we can actually get aware of it is to be aware of how is that person or how is this meeting making me feel. Very simple example. If you're leaving a room or a meeting with one person and over again, you feel extremely drained after having had a meeting with that person, then that's a clear warning sign. It's a very easy example to notice, but yeah, if you are that is something to look into. But it can be more subtle than that as well. It can be like something is off. I had this sales director talking. She's from Finland, and they have feelings. And she actually told me at some point that she had this regular one-to-one with one of her staff members, and something was off. She couldn't tell what it was, and she had made a mental note the next time when she sees her to speak to her staff member. And of course, some life got in the way. She didn't do it. And a couple of weeks later, that person quit her job. And it's not guaranteed that the sales director could have sort of course correct. Probably not. But she could have had a forewarning, or she should have asked, like, I may be wrong, but it feels that something is off, or is there something on your mind? Is there something you would like to mention to me? Just that it can open up whatever you thought was under the surface, and you actually may be wrong. So that can actually be the case, of course. Sorry, Gary.
No,
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
by the way, I'm loving this because I'm visualizing all the situations. Um, can it be mixed up with anxiety? Because like in real life, sometimes you've got a bad feeling, but you don't know when it started and when it was, and you sort of got to go try and find out what that problem was. And the other question is I know you get these feelings and that intuitiveness. Can it be a bit later on, so you're missing the on the spot intuitiveness, and it comes out later, but you don't know what it is because obviously it's at a later time. So I was thinking, like technology wise, it'd be like nice to go. You know what? Something don't feel right. I'm going to press a button, and then it starts it from that, and then you can go back and go, oh, that's when it started. What happened then? that cause this problem. So is it related to anxiety, or am I seeing it thinking it's anxiety, but it's not, it's intuitiveness?
Well, these are actually really, really fantastic questions. Thank you, Gary. So the second question, just to start off with that one, on um, I wish I could hit pause and then just reflect and then push play again and continue. Yeah, it happens a lot to me, contemplation is part of this, and afterwards, oh yeah, now I get it. It's sort of, I may be a little bit slow sometimes, but it can happen to me. I wake up the next day and then I get it, or then I get that question. Yeah, I should have asked that. I need to circle back to that person. Something wasn't right. Yeah, all the time. And in terms of anxiety, this is actually, you're hitting the core of decoding intuition. It is actually decoding self. That is, I might have well have called this program Decoding Self, because how do we know it is intuition? This is the question I get a lot. I have a strong gut feeling, but how do I know it's not fear or fantasy, or just how do I even know that I know this? So it's an anxiety is not intuition, just to be very clear. But intuition informs us, instinct urges the body, moves the body, and fear so fast. If it just passes our awareness, it just acts us. We are fearful, we're just backing off without even thinking of it. That's instinct, that's not intuition. But intuition can inform you like, this is probably not a safe space to be right now. But it's not anxiety. Anxiety doesn't leave you. If intuition pulls on your head, it's a moment and then it's gone. It makes you aware of something and it leaves you. Anxiety, that's something entirely different. That is like pain in your stomach, go to bed with anxiety, wake up with anxiety. And I can get really, really restless when I'm making the wrong decision. A very long time ago, I was entering a startup with a friend of mine. It was actually my own idea. And I got anxiety after, actually, when we had to actually go live. So I backed out again and I asked him to continue without me, which he did. And then I could sleep again. So it is, at that moment, anxiety was gone. So it is, intuition can pull on you until you listen to it, and then it's gone. I'm not sure if that made it clear, but it's,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely did. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I think
All right.
Neil, it's good that all the questions are coming through. I think
Yeah.
Neil's got something he wants to comment about.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Maurice. Really, really good. I'm a creative, kind of employed a lot for my emotions and feelings, and kind of,
Okay.
because I guess a lot of what we do in the creative industry is based around, okay, what's the impact? What are the things that people are going to feel at the end of it? So I've lived my career in being employed to go with my feelings, but then also not being liked for doing that at the same point in time.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what it is to be in liking kind of all right, or nobody's going to feel. So I guess my question was, in relationships, we rely on feelings. So when you like fall in love with somebody, when you kind of etc., you can't program that. You can't say, why does that feel right and why does that not feel right? Why does this feel like the right person? Why it's not? Do you feel there's an element of us finding our tribe in regards to, kind of intuition, where we feel like we're in the right place or we feel like we're not? And I don't know what the science behind that would be, but it just, I think the reason being is that I've taken a lot of jobs in the past and I felt like I've been in the wrong place. But I had to go because the money's been ridiculous and you've got a family to kind of, look after. But I knew from the second I was just in the wrong place and surrounded by the wrong people.
Yeah, that happened to me too. So what was the question?
Finding a tribe, in regards to, building, I guess the intuition, do you feel that there's something, I guess, programmed deep inside us, that makes us feel like this is right for us? I guess the example was falling in love with somebody.
Yeah. Yes, social intuition, there are different kinds of intuition officially, and social intuition is definitely has that functionality. Where does it feel right? And what is my tribe? Definitely, definitely. And this is also the so-called female intuition, often. Um, but in terms of falling in love, I don't know, we only have 3 minutes left, so I'm going to do this really fast. So if you think of someone that you really truly love deeply, or if you're in love, can be a human, can be a dog, or well, I think of my son. And if you have that person in front of you, and just recall the feeling you have for that person right now. And for me, it's it's quite boiling, right? It's boiling over. The feelings are deep. That is actually not what I'm looking for. Because if I would ask you, do you love that person? Are you sure you love that person? What would you say? Would you say yes or no? Are you sure? Do you doubt you love that person or that dog? Doubt.
I guess
I mean,
it's an overwhelming emotion at that time. So in that moment in time, you believe, if you step away and analyze it, and we're all very good at analyzing, do I, don't I? Is it a long-term relationship? Is it this, that, this is that? But I guess in that moment in time, it feels right or it feels wrong, doesn't it?
yeah, so what I'm looking for is that if, you know what, don't take feeling in love, because in love is so much hormones.
Mm.
It's just the act of loving your spouse or your mom or your dad. I mean, as close as you can get it. And I'm not looking for the experience of love. I'm looking for the certainty beneath. If someone would ask me, Maurice, do you doubt your love for your son? I was like, no, that's like just the question by itself. It's so certain. It's so certain. It's so rock solid. This is the most clear example I can give you of the feeling of inner knowing. Of course, when you have to make very tough decisions with conflicting data points, then there's this gray zone where if it's not certain. But somehow, and this is what we deepen. What is knowing? What is
Mm.
your knowing telling you? What is inner knowing and what is learned knowing? Like 1 and 1 is 2. There's also a feeling like, yeah, I know that's right, but that's learned knowing. So yeah, this is decoding. We are decoding now, bit by bit.
Okay, no, I like that, and kind of like, I guess the learned, or the kind of the knowledge base, and then I guess we're talking about that layering where 100% solid, but I guess where we're talking about intuition, it's that gray area, but I guess based upon the things that are certain and true to us.
If we are taking a decision and we are going into the wrong direction, and if it's really the wrong direction, our intuition will scream at some point. And this is the first thing we do within this program, is to define what's my signature, what's my intuitive signature. That's the first thing we do. That's actually not the first thing. The first thing is self-knowing, then self-awareness, and then getting to that anchoring of our signature. From there, it becomes a little bit easier to sort of shift in the quirky waters, depth of feelings and emotions. if it's if it doesn't give peace, we are on the wrong direction. Oh, and people are blocking off, so I'm gonna have my details here in the chat in case somebody wants to talk more about this. Yeah, and I would want to end up with one question to you guys, and that is then, is there something right now in your business or in your life that you feel stuck with? Like stuck. I need clarity. Then let's talk 30 minutes if you want to. No.
Just like to say, Maurice, thank you very much. I think the best thing about these things is, one is obviously talking to people. I think that's so important, and learnings from every conversation. And I think hopefully everyone will go away from this and actually go that one thing, or maybe be a bit more, like you said, intuitive when they're doing stuff instead of waiting for that intuitiveness to come back to you. So I think there'll be lots of learnings from this.
Okay, great. Thank you. I mean, I don't know you guys, but I know you're working with startups and scale-ups, and that is absolutely, yeah, it's fantastic. I always feel there's a certain amount of energy, there's a certain amount of hope and optimism and strength and resilience, and it's always inspiring. It's mutually inspiring. Yeah.